Supersonic speed Vue.js. Honestly, I've been using Vue.js for about I think 2 years now, and yeah, it's really been an awesome tool. And yeah, I think a whole bunch of people should just get to like utilize this tool. There are a whole bunch of tools like React, Angular, but Vue has its own ecosystem, and it's a really amazing tool. I think a lot of people should use. So, does anyone have any questions, or we should just end the Q&A here? Okay, so it looks like this is a bit confusing because I thought someone else was supposed to be here to moderate this QA session. One is here for some reasons. So I'm gonna end this. Um, Tell me something about the PS stuff you use. Okay, so about the PWA. Okay. So the PWA. So for example, PWA stands for Progressive Web Apps, as we know, as you know. Just catching or something else too. So okay, so PWA stands for Progressive Web Apps, and Progressive Web Apps is not just catching; it has to do with a whole bunch of stuff like having that mobile experience. So you want to have a web app. So when you have a website and it has a PWA support service worker enabled, you can call that a web app. It's still possible to call that a web app because it's a website at the same time a mobile application. So you don't have to. I believe I might be wrong, but I believe I saw a release by Google Play Store that you can now host PWA apps, that's Progressive Web Apps, on the Chrome on the Play Store. So yeah, but about Progressive Web App, it's super important that it's really, as I put this. So I have a website. I can make an application. I can have it on my phone. So I can have, for example, I have this podcast called DevRel Chats. So I want people to be able to access my episode easily. So I just make that website a progressive web app. Then people can have it on their phone and they can basically access my podcast episode easily from their phone rather than going to a website. So yeah, but for to make that work with Vue.js, you need to install the CLI CLI Vue.js, the Vue.js CLI PW plugin. You need to install Webbox. You need to also configure your Vue config and also set up your service worker. So yeah, once you set up these things, every other thing just basically just happens. So it's not just catching. So PWA is not just catching, but yeah, but I think catching is one of the most significant part of the service worker part. Where so basically the service worker helps you catches the images and some JavaScript files to your phone where you be like regular. Let's think of the Facebook application for a mobile phone. If you go to your settings, look at where the Vue.js is, rather the application is, you can see where you can see like you can see like the app size is being increased because it's doing a lot of catching. So yeah, catching is one of the most significant facts when working with the PWA apps. That's one of the reasons why we have the service worker file. So yeah, it's super powerful and basically catches almost everything. And but yeah, it's like the most significant part of the PW, like building PWA apps. And the next you said the talk was amazing. Thank you, Alba. Think that I want to start with skeleton to improve the listening load. Any Vue plugin library for it? You want to improve that? Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm going to share one with you right now. There's one I use. I can't remember the name. I'm gonna pull it right now and send it here. Give me a minute. But before I send this, Alba, I want to get you sure. When you say listening load, you mean calculating the sizes of the like JavaScript files, images, and all of that, right? A library that will help you like know all of these details, right? I believe that's what you meant, right? So as to share the correct thing to you. List of products in a grid. When with listing, I mean a list of products in a grid. So if it's list of products, that means this products they have images, right? So these products I think they're going to be in a list, in a grid session. They're gonna have images, right? If that's what you mean. So you could just basically just lazy load the images in the grid. You could just lazy load the images in the grid. That is on descriptions. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could just lazy load the images in the grid. Just create a regular CSS grid, like it's regular CSS grid, and lazy load the images in the grid. And I believe in my slides I mentioned about using Lozad. I mentioned Vue lazy load also. Yeah, those two libraries will greatly help you, and to also track how large these images are and how fast they load. For the loading time speed, you can just go to your network tab and yeah, use the network feature so you can see how fast the image you're trying to fetch is taking to load. If you want to know how like the sizes of the images and know like how best to optimize, you can use the Webpack content analyzer. I'm going to share the link here so you can take a look at that. um, Webpack content analyzer. Give me a minute, I'm going to send it to you right now. So I'm gonna share the links in the chat so you can take a look at them. But yeah, Webpack, Lozad, and Vue Lazy Load. But when working on projects, I use Lozad a lot of times, so I would definitely recommend Lozad. So just lazy load the images and the text will just come by itself. You don't need to lazy load any of that. So just the images just have to lazy load. So remember I said you either lazy load regularly or you use placeholder. So when the large image enters into the viewport, it automatically transitions into the so when I load the website, I'm not seeing a blank screen. What I'm seeing is a placeholder. Then once the right image, that's the one I'm fetching for the grid, enters into the viewport, automatically transitions into the strong image. That's the clearer image. But then the user is not kept waiting. So what I shared right here, I shared Webpack Mode Analyzer. This will help you look at the sizes of the images you're trying to import and how fast they're being. But yeah, that's the sizes and yeah, every other basically all the images and the loader will help you lazy load the images, iframes, videos, basically media assets at large. But yeah, I think okay, awesome. Yeah, excited that you would. It's an amazing tool, really. I think it has about 36,600 plus weekly downloads. That's a lot. I think a lot of people use those already. So, does anyone have any more questions about anything at all as regards speed, performance, products? Yeah, open source that has to do with performance. I wanted to add all of those content, but yeah. Okay, it says, do you know an equivalent for the GridSum G image components if not using GridSum, e.g. Nuxt? Is the one feature I find most useful. Uh, so, okay, for the G image, so an alternative. Okay, so if you're using the G image alternative for Nuxt, I do not know one currently, and if I'm not using the G image tag, even when I'm working with GridSum, so it's actually best. I think I mentioned this. I mentioned this in my talk where when so GridSum has these things pre-installed. They come like out of the box with GridSum, so you shouldn't really go out of it when you're working with GridSum to do something else. As long as it works, it's best to use it. But if you want to do something else that doesn't work for this, your best option would be Cloudinary. Your business owner with the Cloudinary. So the simplest way to do this with Cloudinary is two things. So firstly, we're gonna upload two different images into our Cloudinary directory. We're gonna upload one a placeholder, which is the correct image, but with different parameters. Now, with Cloudinary we can set the URL to be gray style. We can set the blur to be 100%. So when we are making it gray style, making it 100%, that image automatically becomes a placeholder, and we also change the quality equals to low. So these are parameters we can put into our Cloudinary URL. So once we do this, that's one image. The quality is going to be very low, but at the same time, all what everyone will be seeing will be gray style. So automatically, you're gonna write a CSS element that's gonna say, so it's gonna say first things first, you're gonna load this image. That's the low quality image. Then once the best thing, so before you can load the second image, I said that you upload that, which is a high quality image in Cloudinary. So this is a very long process, but yeah, I think if you don't want to use Gimage, you could use this also. So low quality image using gray style, and the second quality image will be the high quality, which will be uploaded into your Cloudinary dashboard also. But you set high quality image, there will be no gray style, image of high quality. Then you say, according to your network, you have to inspect how long will it take this image to load into my viewport. let's say it takes about 3 seconds. So automatically you say the placeholder, which is the image that appears first, which is being lazy loaded already, is going to take 3 seconds on the screen. Then it's gonna, so once the page after that, once the placeholder is lazy loaded, automatically after 3 seconds, because remember you've calculated how long it takes for the stronger image at the back to enter into the viewport. So once you've calculated that via the network. So automatically when you click, you say it should basically transition from the placeholder image, that's a blurry one, into the strong one at the back. Then there's a transitioning. But I wouldn't recommend this using in GridSum. I wouldn't do that. But I use this when I'm working with basically random Vue.js projects. But in GridSum, I would recommend you use the gimage tag, because that's what comes out of the box with GridSum, and it does all of this automatically. You don't have to do any additional setup. So for GridSum, I would recommend you use gimage. Or when building like products outside of GridSum, you can use Cloudinary to lazy load, and basically use the placeholder strategy to like basically load images to the users. Awesome. So I think let me share a URL. So there's a talk I did as regards that. I think I would want to share it with you. Give me a minute. I did there's a talk I did, and I spoke about this documentedly. So hey Stefan, you could check out that. So it's a slide on Google's on slide decks, speaker deck. If you scroll to the end, you will see where what I just said now is in that slide also, so you can see how it basically works. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions before we end this QA session? Okay, I think that's is it. So yeah, thanks so much everyone for coming to my talk and this QA. Yeah. So yeah, so bye everyone.